I think it's inevitable. I think that the French government capitulating to widespread rioting on the streets of Paris and other major cities and towns is actually nothing new. Macron's predecessors, including right-wing conservatives such as Nicolas Sarkozy or Jacques Chirac, have all backed down and changed their policies when they felt that rioting was getting out of control. And remember that Paris and France, the modern republic, is actually built on revolution, and violent street protest has long been viewed as an acceptable reaction to unpopular policies. But I think what's particularly humiliating about Macron's climb down is how quickly it happened. The rioters have only, and the protesters in general, have only started their movement 3 weeks ago. And of course, Macron's green policy was sacred to his Paris Agreement.
I'll come back to that point on the environment in a moment. But do you think this move by the government will actually end these sorts of scenes that we've seen on the streets in Paris, elsewhere? You were over there only a couple of weeks ago. You've seen it for yourself.
I don't think it will bring any respite to the movement. In fact, it might embolden them. I mean, to begin with, it was a great publicity stunt for them. The very fact that they caught the world's attention is a significant victory in itself. But speaking to Gilets Jaunes at the weekend, now the wish list, contain everything from Macron's resignation to to bringing down the Fifth Republic so as to bring about a more democratic Sixth Republic. And, people, they also feel that they're a great source of inspiration for grassroots activists around the world, not just across Europe, precisely because they are non-affiliated, they're independent, and they haven't been recuperated by politicians who try to piggyback on their movement.
You said it was a key plank of his environmental policy. It absolutely was, because last week he was saying, President Macron, you cannot be pro-environment on Monday and then be against the fuel price rises on Tuesday, and yet we've seen this about turn. Where does that leave that whole environmental push?
Well, I think that's where the problem lies with Macron's administration. But it has to be said that his whole range of green policies include other things such as taxes on gas and electricity. And so the issues surrounding the protests are far wider.
And why has his personal popularity collapsed? Is that simply because we've got it wrong watching from outside, or have things changed inside of France?
Well, he started off, like any elected president, as being hugely popular. I mean, in his case, he was very popular, not only because he promised a great deal when he came in just 18 months ago, but also because he was a young, dynamic, and, dare I say, telegenic. And he also appealed to the French because he was independent and refused to be caught in political infighting or indeed any dogma. But predictably, all French presidents become unpopular as they try to push in very tough policy nice and early in their presidency. And that's an inevitable aspect of early presidential days, I'm afraid.